We're talking Ball State. Don Shondell and Ray McCallum talking Ball State. Nate Davis and Bonzi Wells. Scheumann, Bell Tower, and Worthen. Fans all over from Muncie to Berlin. Getting Concannons, Carters, and Greeks.
All right, everyone out there in Cardinal land, welcome to another live edition of Ball State of the Union, your number one Ball State football podcast. By the fans, for the fans. We're talking current headlines, exclusive interviews with Cardinal athletes and coaches, and fun off-the-wall debates you won't hear anywhere else. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow us on all of your favorite social media platforms. And as always, remember, when you hear that song, when you hear that sultry voice that you just heard, you know we're about to be talking Ball State. Again, everyone, we are live right now on Twitter. We're live on Instagram, and we're live on YouTube. I am John, joined by my co-host, as always, Colin from Ball State Football Talk. If anyone out there is listening, please feel free to put your questions or comments throughout the show in the chat on either YouTube, Instagram, or Twitter, and we will read those all at the end of the show. At some point tonight, our new great co-host, Willie Sneed, will be joining us, Colin, and he will get in and talk all things UNH and Ball State for this upcoming weekend. But before we get to our guest, as you saw earlier, we're going to have on Justin McIsaac, the radio voice from UNH, and he is going to tell us everything we need to know about the Wildcats. But before we get to that, we want to do a little business here. We want to tell everyone again, we're partnering with the Shop Indy. That's the Shop Indy. They are a T-shirt and memorabilia merchandise company. Colin, I know you bought some stuff recently, and when you bought something, you use that code BS Union, and once you do that, you're going to get free shipping on all of your orders. Again, that's code BS Union from the Shop Indy. And Colin, I know you got that cup, and how's it working for you?
It's pretty nice. I think I got it for like $7.50 before tax because we used the BSU Union code, free shipping, and then it was 25% off. So I got a cup for like $8.03 after tax. Perfect, great deal.
Can't beat that. Yeah. Again, use that code BS Union for free shipping. So, like we said, we have a very special guest on with us right now. This is Justin McIsaac. He's the radio voice for UNH football. Justin, thank you so much for joining us tonight. How are we doing?
Great. Thanks for having me on, boys. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So we were able to link up with Justin a few weeks back and get this set up. He's the perfect person to have on. We know we've had on Mick Tidrow before, and he's just a wealth of knowledge for all things Ball State football. So Justin is going to do that same exact thing for UNH. Just a little background for any Ball State or New Hampshire fans out there listening. This is actually the second all-time meeting between the two schools. And unfortunately for us here on the show, Ball State is actually 0-1 all-time against New Hampshire, with that 23-16 loss coming back in 2009. So, Justin, before we jump into the team for this year, just tell us a little bit about yourself. Kind of how did you get this job, and how long have you been doing it, mainly?
Yeah, sure. So I was the color commentator on radio with UNH from 2017 till 2022. Yeah, and then I took over play-by-play, which is what I'm much better at. I can tell you what a zone and a man coverage is based on playing Madden and college football forever, but I'm not a big X's and O's guy. So
yeah,
do the play-by-play now. I do a lot of college play-by-play around New Hampshire and New England. Before that, I was actually an independent professional wrestler. I wasn't all that big, but I could talk. So I made the transition to radio after I stopped getting thrown on my head on the weekends. So here I am.
Now, Justin, do you ever don the tights and trunks anymore, or are you completely retired from that?
No, man, those don't fit no more. I got a dad bod, and my neck cracks funny, and my back hurts when it's going to rain. So we are happily retired from professional wrestling.
Well, that's great. I didn't realize that we had a pro wrestler on the show with us. I'm a pro wrestling fan myself, so we'll have to talk about this maybe at another time. But
for sure.
So let's talk about UNH football. Yeah. So Ball State's opponent this weekend, obviously University of New Hampshire. Go ahead and give us kind of the overall identity of what the University of New Hampshire football team looks like.
So this season there was question marks about the defense because UNH was decimated by graduation and one big transfer, but mostly graduation last year. So there was only one returning starter. In spring and summer camp, I would asking the coaches, people around the team, hey, what do you think about the defense? Everybody was like, I don't know. We're going to see when they roll out in the first game, but they've been the strength of the team through 2 games. Scott James, the defensive coordinator, was the defensive coordinator at Holy Cross when they had a nice FCS run to the Final Four a couple of years back. He actually started in New Hampshire, went to Holy Cross, then came back to New Hampshire. So he's got those guys playing really, really well. They've played, I don't know, like 300 kids on defense over the first 2 games, and every single one of them has made an impact. So it's been a pleasant surprise, to see how well the defense has played. The offense, in both games, they've started slow. Matt Vezza, the quarterback, he's from Illinois, so not too far away from you guys. He's a dual threat quarterback. He can do it with his legs. I think the coaching staff likes how poised he is. He threw 2 picks against Holy Cross, including a pick 6, but didn't let it phase him. Came back well in the second half. They were able to squeak out a victory with a last-second field goal. But really, the straw that stirs the drink is the head coach, Rick Santos. He's probably the best quarterback in the program's history. It's either him or Max Brosmer, who's now with the Minnesota Vikings. And he's a wild man. The players really feed off his energy. You'll see him if you're at the game running up and down the sidelines, just being he calls himself a total sicko. The players buy in to everything he's saying because they know he was a baller, and he's just they feed off that energy. So it's really it's a fun team to cover the past few years, and it looks like this team's going to be no exception.
So would you say this year's team is much different than the last couple, or has there been a culture change the last couple of years, or what would you say for Ball State fans to think about? Is this like a newer thing you're talking about with Coach Santos, or is that kind of how it's been the status quo for the last few years?
So this is his 3rd full year, I want to say, and he had an interim year when the legendary coach Sean McDonald came down with cancer in 2019. So I think 4 years total, 3 as full-time head coach. And he's a younger guy. He's a little younger than me, which is weird. But he relates to the players a little better. Practices are looser. They play music, stuff like that. Guys can have their shirts untucked. Whether that's a good or a bad thing, I don't know, but it's a little looser on the program, which I think is more the modern game. And but when things go bad, the players know that's a privilege to be able to do those things. So things will get tight real quick if they're not acting like they're supposed to, which doesn't really happen with UNH, or if they're losing ball games. But they haven't had a losing season under Rick Santos. The expectations at New Hampshire are they want to be in contention to win the conference, the CAA, to be a top 25 FCS team, and to make the playoffs. Like those are the expectations for New Hampshire fans, players, and coaches.
Yeah, so we saw that the rankings came up this week that they did crack that top 25 in the FCS. They were coming in at 23rd. So before I know Colin's about to get into some specific players and questions about some other stuff like that, but how would you describe the style of play for UNH? Is it like, are they a tough, grinded out team? Is it an explosive team? Kind of what would be your best way to describe them?
So through 2 games this year, with a new quarterback, new defense, a lot of new faces at receiver, I'd say they want to run the ball, control the clock, and then kind of get you with some X plays at opportune moments. So an opportunistic offense, and then just kind of a big play defense. They've only allowed opponents 1 touchdown and 6 trips into the red zone. And they've got a couple of interceptions. They had 8 sacks last week, or 8 sacks total for the season. Defensive line's been really getting after it. So as the offense evolves, I think later in the season, it might be a little bit different. It's a first-year play caller, Ed Borden. He's been with the program quite a few years, but he's calling the plays for the first time this year. So as he evolves, as the offense evolves, might be a different team in 6 weeks than right now. But right now, I think it's run the ball, control the clock, hit some big passes, and play good defense.
All right. Colin, we're going to get to you here in 1 second. We're going to have our other co-host, Ball State legend and 10-year NFL veteran Willie Sneed is here with us now. Willie, good to see you, man. Thanks for joining us tonight. So, Willie, we're just talking a little UNH, and Justin here has given us a little inside look at what we should expect for this weekend. And I know Colin wanted to ask him a handful of questions here right now about the strengths and some playmakers for the team.
Just real quick, I'm so old. I remember when Willie's dad was playing for the Jets. That's how old I am.
It was a 12th round selection right there.
Yeah, back in the day when they had all them rounds. Yeah,
I know, right? That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Nice to meet
So
you,
Justin,
nice to meet you.
I want to ask about the biggest strengths and maybe some playmakers for New Hampshire on that offensive side of the ball. Who are some names that maybe Ball State fans should know before going into the game?
Yeah, so offensively, Miles Thomas, the running back, he's kind of a home run hitter. He's great in the kicking game, great as running back. He's just a dynamic player. Not the biggest dude on earth, but he's quick and he's tough. Caleb Burke last week at wide receiver threw a touchdown pass. It was the only touchdown in the game for UNH. The guy that's yet to break out, two guys at wide receiver, I think are going to have big seasons at the end of the day. Chase Wilson, a transfer from D3 Wesleyan. UNH had a receiver the last 2 years, Logan Tomlinson, who transferred from Wesleyan, who just he went nuts in his time with UNH. Actually, he got a rookie invite to Ravens camp. I don't think he caught on with the team, but from D3 to almost making the NFL is pretty good. So I guess he's in the Wesleyan pipeline. Wesleyan is the NESCAC. It's like the D3 Ivy League. But anyway, one other guy the coaches loved in training camp was Logan Perez. Hasn't really done a ton yet, but I think that's been game plan specific. So those guys on offense you want to watch.
Okay. What about defense, Justin? What on the defensive side, where does New Hampshire really hang its hat?
Well, this year so far, like depth, I'm surprised how many kids they played and how good they've all been. The one guy, two guys that have stood out for me are Raleigh Collins, transfer defensive back. He's got 2 interceptions, and also his video blogs of the season are professionally edited or something. I don't know. They're slick as hell. They're great to watch. And Trevor Berry's kind of come out of nowhere. Redshirt freshman linebacker. That was a question mark. I think there was no linebackers coming back after graduation, and no linebackers that had played, I should say, coming back after last season. But he's led the team in tackles both games. It's been everywhere. So those two dudes have really stood up. But I mean, really, it's been the whole defense, all 3,000 guys that have played in 2 games for the defense.
Would you say the strength is more secondary or that front 7?
I think they complement each other really well. They can cover well, and if you got a defensive line getting pressure, it makes it a whole lot easier to cover. So I think they just play complementary football. And probably, if you ask me to pick one, it's probably the defensive line, but it's like, I don't know, 51-49. You know what I mean? It's very, very even.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Willie, do you have any, excuse me, I'm a little under the weather right now. Willie, do you have any questions for Justin about UNH and what we might see this weekend?
Yeah, I saw that you guys cracked the top 25. I don't know if you guys talked about that, but how do you guys handle when you guys create success like that? Obviously, I've known about New Hampshire for a couple years now, and going back to my playing days, I've always respected their program. And I was just curious, when they do crack the top 25, is it really a big deal to those guys, or is it just business as usual? How do they handle the success of the program as it continues to elevate this year?
Yeah, so Coach Santos has a saying when those type of rankings and things come out, he goes, "So what? Now what?" Right? It's an expectation for New Hampshire to be in that top 25. It doesn't always happen. But they do strike a good balance between, yes, you should celebrate that your wins, you should celebrate your successes, but also they don't let the kids get start buying their own headlines. You know what I mean? They don't let them get too far over their skis. So I think they strike a good balance with things like that.
Yeah, I don't want to drink the Kool-Aid too soon, right?
Right. Yeah. I'm sure you had some coaches tell you that, Willie, right?
Plenty, especially when we were like borderline trying to get into the top 25. When we do crack it, it's not like looking at the Instagram post, the Twitter feed.
Right.
Social media is so much different now than it was I'm not that old. Social media was just starting to get around when I was playing, but it's different now. NIL is different. It makes the whole landscape is different. So I was just curious how that is a little different or not.
It's fun. New Hampshire's like an island of not all that much NIL and things like that. There's not I know they're trying to get stuff like that off the ground, but it's certainly not like it would be probably a North Dakota State at the FCS level. You know what I mean? But they do a good job keeping their own guys around. It's really New Hampshire's a lot of kids that have a chip on their shoulder that maybe were talented enough to get recruited somewhere bigger, but whatever it is, like, oh, you're not tall enough, you're not big enough, you're not this, that, but one thing they do bring is effort. And I've never seen a New Hampshire team without a ton of effort. And that's kind of the mentality.
I feel that.
Hey, speaking of successful teams like North Dakota State, what's been the record of the team of New Hampshire these last couple years? Like after the season, when the season is over, were they making the playoffs in this coach's first 2 years? Have they been ranked in the top 25? Did they end the season with a winning record? What were those first 2 seasons like?
Yeah, so Coach Santos hasn't had a losing record. Even in his interim year, they went 6-5. A couple of games went down to the wire. His first full year as coach, they went to the FCS playoffs, won a home game, then lost to Holy Cross in, what was that, the quarterfinal? They lost to Holy Cross the next round, and Holy Cross ended up going to the Final Four. They were a really good team that year. The next year, oh my goodness, they had Max Brosmer, who's in the NFL. They had Dylan Laube, who's with the Raiders in the NFL, and the defense couldn't stop a nosebleed. They went 6-5. And they lost 4 of those games on the final play of the game. You know what I mean? They really should have gone 10-1, including at Central Michigan. Central Michigan had to kick a last-second field goal. That game probably got Dylan Laube drafted. He had 295 yards receiving out of the backfield against Central Michigan. But yeah, it was an explosive offense that and the defense, like I said, they couldn't stop me and my 2 dogs from running the option. So, and then last year, team had a bunch of injuries but persevered. They went on a 4-game winning streak to end the season to make the playoffs. And by the time they hosted Tennessee Martin, there was about 8 healthy guys left, and they got the boat raced in the playoff game. But getting to the playoffs was kind of the win there, where their backs were up against the wall. So it's a team with a winning tradition. They had a playoff streak. I think it was 14 or 15 seasons in a row at one point that got snapped in 2018. But I mean, they also had a run of, and I think it ended in 2009 against Ball State. They had a run of 4 or 5 straight years beating FBS teams, Army, Northwestern, Marshall. There was a couple others in there.
Yeah, and that actually transitions perfectly into what I was about to ask you next. Have you noticed any difference in preparation or feeling around the building whenever New Hampshire is playing an FBS team or getting ready to play one?
Well, of course, for a lot of these guys, I was talking to Chase Wilson today. He said this is going to be the biggest game, biggest stadium ever played in. And I know the capacity is 22,000 in Muncie. Yeah, so he, at D3 Wesleyan, he was playing in front of friends and family, and then we played at North Carolina Central, which is an HBCU, and they have a great atmosphere. So that was the biggest crowd he ever played in front of. And then last week, the home opener, that was the biggest crowd he ever played in front of. So a lot of these guys get hyped up for that, trying not to get too hyped up. But they I think the coaching staff tries to instill in them, hey, you belong on this field too. Don't let the moment be too big. Enjoy it, but don't let it overcome you.
Okay. Willie and Colin, do either of you have any more questions for Justin about the UNH team and what you might expect this weekend?
Yeah, go ahead, Willie. Go ahead.
No, you're good, Colin. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask about the kicking game because I looked over the clips from last week and saw that I think the kicker might have won the game. 4 kicks maybe made or 3 kicks. I'm not sure exactly. Could you touch on that a little bit? Just maybe the special teams and some X factors that don't always show up in the box score, but maybe make a huge difference.
Yeah, big kick, Nick Reed last week, 4 for 4 on field goals. He's a transfer from Buffalo. He didn't get a whole lot of chance to play at Buffalo. He made 2 against North Carolina Central. He made 4 last week, a 50-yarder to tie it. And the conditions weren't exactly great last week. And then a 40-yarder at the gun to win it. And he boots every kickoff just about through the back of the end zone. So he's a weapon. UNH had a great kicker last year, Nick Mazie. And when he transferred to, I want to say Eastern Kentucky, maybe one of the Kentucky schools, that was a concern because he was really good, and it's not a concern no more because Nick Reed's been blasting him, so that's been great. Special teams is one of the things UNH keys on. Their special teams unit has a motto. It's we care more. So they really take that aspect of the game seriously. They got 2 blocked kicks already this season. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So for me, Justin, it's what part? It's been 2 games. Have you guys played 2 games
2
so
games
far
yes.
this season? So what part of the team do you feel like is the stronger part of the team right now, offensively, special teams, defensively? Because when I look at this matchup, I'm gonna be looking for where is the strength of this team and where should I look? Is it the defense? Do they hold teams to little points? Is it the offense? Are they moving the ball down the field on defenses these last 2 games? Where do you see the matchup for the game being like heightened to where it's like when this team goes out, when offense goes out, we got to keep our eyes glued to the TV because right now they're prone to score, or defensively, hey, they got a really strong, stout front 7. Like, where should we be putting our eyes towards when in terms of New Hampshire and their strengths?
Yeah, well, it's definitely the defense. And before you came on, I was saying to the guys, it was a bit of a surprise because they only had 1 returning starter on defense, but they played really well at North Carolina Central, allowed them just 10 points. Last week, allowed 16 points, but 6 of those were on a pick 6. So they only allowed 10 points as a defense to Holy Cross. And I've been very pleasantly surprised with how well the defense has played. A lot of young guys, they play a lot of dudes. I joke it's like 1,000, but it's probably like 18 or 19, honestly, that they get in there rotating around on defense, and everybody's made an impact. The front 4 have been great. They usually play a 4-2-5, so the linebackers have been great in coverage and also run blitzing, pass blitzing, and the defensive backs. They have a lot of dudes that are like a little too small to be a linebacker, and a lot of those hybrid safety types, and they all play great. So it's just their depth at defense and just the way they fly around and make plays has really been a surprise. The offense, first 2 games, they've gotten off to slow starts and they've got cooking in the second half. And I know they want to emphasize getting off to a better start, but the defense has carried the team through 2 games so far, I'd say.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll definitely be looking for that matchup because one of my chirps is to see the offense going. So I'm looking forward to that matchup, definitely. Thank you.
Yeah, I was on one of the radio shows today in Muncie, and I said this might be a case, and I know Ball State's had to play, P4 team, so they haven't been able to kind of show their best self quite yet. But I said, yeah, this might be first team to 14 wins or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, Justin, I got a couple quick questions for you, and then we'll get you out of here. We appreciate your time. Favorite stadium you've called a game in so far?
Oh, it's got to be Boulder, Colorado. We went out there my second year, and we went out there a day early, so we got to so the guys could get used to the altitude. But the play-by-play guy at the time, Bob Littman, his college roommate had a connection to the coach, Coach McCartney at the time. So we got to tour like the offices. We got to see them run the Buffalo in practice. You know what I mean? Like they practice running Ralphie out there.
Yeah.
So that was amazing. And then the stadiums, there was like 65,000 people out there. And it was great. The bounce house last year at UCF was pretty fun too. We opened up at UCF, but I have to say Colorado, I think, is my favorite.
Okay. Best player you've ever called a game for in your career? It could be UNH or it could be somebody you played against.
College-wise, it might have been that one year Kenny Pickett went off. We played at Pitt when they won the ACC, and they beat us 77-7. And it was, but it was, and this is great too. So it was a chartered flight. We get back to the airport, and after losing 77-7, there's no TSA agents. So we sit on the bus looking at the plane for 2.5 hours because they wouldn't even let us off the bus. So insult to injury. So that year's Kenny Pickett was probably the best player in one game I've ever seen. Max Brosmer or Dylan Laube, it's a coin flip, and they played together. Those guys were amazing. Like Dylan Laube could do anything. Max Brosmer was surgical and had a cannon for an arm. I think he's going to have a good NFL career. So is Dill, I think. But those 2 guys are, for UNH, the best 2 guys I've ever covered.
Okay.
Hey, Justin.
Yeah, go ahead.
Who's the last FBS team New Hampshire has beaten, and when was it?
It was Georgia Southern in 2017. It was a game that got moved to Birmingham, Alabama, because of a hurricane. And they ended up, but I think it was like 22-10 or something like that. But they got a nice win over Georgia Southern, who had just gone up to the Sun Belt, I think like 4 or 5 years before that.
Justin, what's one thing Ball State fans should know about the University of New Hampshire that they probably don't know?
Ooh, that's a good question. Let me see. I would say, well, I mean, they're responsible for more coaches than you'd think. Ryan Day at Ohio State, New Hampshire quarterback and assistant coach. Chip Kelly, who's with the Raiders now, New Hampshire assistant coach, and played there as well. Dan Mullen, I think, went to UNH. He was with Florida back in the day. But just, New Hampshire, UNH specifically, more dudes than you think come out of New Hampshire. It's for a smaller state, I think we're like a little over 1 million people. We punch above our weight with stuff like that.
Okay. Awesome. Nice. Well, hey, we really appreciate your time, Justin. Before you go, I have one more thing for you. Sure. Can you cut me like a 10 to 15 second promo on why people should watch the game this weekend? Willie, if you missed this, Justin, before he began his broadcasting career, was a former independent wrestler, and so he's about to cut a promo for us here.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll do it also as the Macho Man Randy Savage.
Oh, even better.
Yeah,
even better.
The Wildcats come to town. Freak out. Cats and birds, you know it's gonna be a big deal. But you win them in the ring and you lose them in the ring. Dig it? So be there at 2:00 in Muncie. Yeah.
Perfect. All right, Justin.
Nice.
Take care. Best of luck this weekend, and we'll talk to you again soon.
All right, boys. Have a great rest of the show. Thanks.
Have a good one.
Thank you, Justin.
All right, fellas. That was our new friend, Justin McIsaac, the radio voice for UNH. So everyone out there, if for some reason you enjoyed what you saw from Justin, I liked the promo there. Be sure to give him a follow on Twitter, and I'm sure he'll get some other good stuff out there. So before we go on, if you're out there listening, if you can hear my voice right now, be sure to leave any questions or comments that you have about the game this weekend, about the game last weekend, about the interview you heard, anything on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, in the chat, and we will read them all at the end of the show. Willie, how you doing since we last talked? We had a good episode. You bring some good numbers to the show.
That's good. I'm glad I'm helping in some ways, man. I had fun though. I was looking forward to today. Sorry for my absence, but rushing home. We got out early, so I'm glad I made the interview with Justin. That was pretty good.
Perfect. Yeah. So it was a good time talking to him. We only were on a couple minutes before you jumped on. So one more thing I'll put up here before we kind of jump into the news for this week. We talked about at the very beginning of the show, but again, if you're just now tuning in, Ball State of the Union, we are partnering with the Shop Indy, and I have a line of Ball State apparel that you can get at www.theshopindy.com. Use that code BSUnion, and you'll get free shipping on all of your orders. So we have a handful of things to go over that happened last week, or between last week and now, and I was going to bring them all up now, and we can all kind of let everybody know our thoughts on them here. So the first thing is, let me find it here 1 second, guys. This first one. So if you go to any games at Scheumann Stadium this year, there is going to be some new game day experiences and upgrades that you're going to be able to see. So looks like right after the top, new Spirit Store, expanded food trucks, payment options, and new turf highlight experience upgrades for Ball State football. So I believe there, Willie, I don't know how many games you've gone to as a fan before, but there's going to be some different things that are new this year. So right there, back behind the visiting team locker room is usually that old kind of, team store, if you will. Apparently there's a new one of those now. I'd like to see a picture of it this weekend from somebody. Some more food trucks, payment options. You can pay by Apple Pay, Samsung Pay now. And then obviously we have the new turf that we all saw earlier in the year that got everyone up into arms when Dancing Charlie was unceremoniously taken off of the end. So, Colin, I'll start with you.
Yeah.
We're always talking about ways that we can make Ball State even better. This seems like a step in the right direction, in my opinion. What's your thought on these new upgrades that they put into Scheumann Stadium?
Yeah, John, anytime I go anywhere and there's no tap to touch, I'm kind of like just dismayed. Like, why? It's 2025. I'm glad we got tap to touch in there. The new turf, I've stood on it. I've had my team play on it. It looks nice. Yeah, there's no Dancing Charlie, but we'll take that. I'm glad they're, keeping it up to par, upgrading. The Dancing Charlie is unfortunate, but you kind of like stumbled over this. I want to know, Willie, how many games have you been to after you after you left Ball State and started your NFL career?
I was just getting ready to speak on that. Like, I don't think I've been to a game since I left Ball State. That's how bad
That
it's
would have
What?
been my guess as well.
been. Yeah. It's been that long, Colin. Like, I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, when I think about it, every time I'm in season, I haven't gone back to Indianapolis for a while. Like, I think the last time I went up there was 2016 when I went back to finish my degree. And that's like 8 years ago. You know what I'm saying? But since,
Wow.
John was reading all the, things that they're expanding on, it's like I probably won't even recognize it. You know what I mean? Like, I think I went back one time uh when they had just opened up the new sports complex, like where the
Mm.
coaches' offices are and all that stuff. Like, I haven't seen the turf field. I haven't seen like the indoor turf.
Oh yeah.
Like, there was no like shop, you know what I'm saying? Like, behind the state, like our home stadium, I mean, our home sideline was on the other side where
Yep.
the away team is now. You know what I'm saying? So like that's
Mm.
how long it's been. And everything I'm reading, it just sounds really cool for the fans, just to be interacting, to get them more merch, just give Ball State Muncie fans, a reason to come out to games and be excited for it. I mean, that's what it's all about. It's all about branding and making things better for the fans so that when the kickoff happens, um, there's a lot of excitement going on in the stadium prior to kickoff. So I'm impressed with all these, upgrades. I'm looking forward to it. I'm actually going to be out there in a couple weeks for my Hall of Fame deal. So I'm excited just to see the upgrades, to see, everything that John was talking about. And, this is good for Ball State. It's good for Ball State football. And, I'm excited just to see, what it all looks like, the experience of itself, being there.
Yeah, Willie, you made a good point there talking about how the sideline that Ball State football is on used to be on the opposite side of the press box where the student section is,
Right.
which never made a lot of sense to me because that's where all the sun would be. You're not going to have you're not going to have the press box kind of providing any shade. Did they ever give you guys any reasoning as to why that was? It always seemed like the natural put them on the press box side, and pretty much everywhere you go, like the Colts, for instance, if the Colts open that roof, they make sure their home sideline is on the side where the sun is not going to be shining on the longest. And it's always seemed like Ball State back when you were playing and when I was working there was the opposite. Did they ever give you any reason as to why that was?
I think the only reason I remember is that they wanted the home fans to be facing the home team instead of our backs being to the fans, the home
Hmm.
team. I think that's what the logic was. It wasn't just a Pete Lembo thing. I'm not sure if the sun was a big deal because it's not really a stadium. And I get like most of our games were at 2 o'clock, so it's like when you think about it, where the sun is at 2, it's like it doesn't make a big difference. But
Hmm.
um, I think it was just more of the stadium facing the home team. I think that's how it was explained to us because in the moment it made sense because when we're looking out, we see the whole fans, we see the stadium, and I think it's more rowdier like for the opponent if their back is to like our home fans. You can imagine the screaming that's going on right behind them, right? Like because I remember when we played at Oklahoma, like this picture is where the fans were, like right behind me. Like that's how close they were, and they were like screaming in our ear. So I would believe that's like an intimidation factor for some stadiums. But so I mean that's how it was explained to us back in the day. But I mean since they changed it's gonna be a little weird, but um, it is what it is now.
Yep. One more thing with these stadium type upgrades I have here. Let me pull up this other one real quick. Something I saw today, actually. This is from the outside of Scheumann Stadium. They got some updated graphics, it looks like. Looks pretty nice. I was there a couple weeks back, and these were not up yet. It was just still kind of the old one that had been up for a while. And so, yeah, incorporating some more black into there than I feel like they usually are. Any strong comments on what the new outside of Scheumann Stadium looks like from either of you?
I'm loving the black. I'm not gonna lie. Like whenever you can sprinkle a little more black into the color scheme, like A plus. I'm not gonna lie, I love black. So whenever we put on the black uniforms, the all black uniforms, my last home game against Miami of Ohio, and we whooped their But I don't know. It's just that black brings another swagger level to the roof. Like for me, you can never go wrong with the black. Keep it going, Ball State.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it looks good too. I like red and black as a color combo in general together. So I think it looks really clean. I don't remember what it used to look like. John, do you?
Yeah, I'll tweet out the picture because when I went a couple weeks ago, I tweeted out a picture when I was there. I can't really describe what I remember, but it definitely did not look like this. I remember that for sure. So maybe I'll retweet whatever that was. But
I will say I love the stadium. I can't wait to go back and watch games in there. It's just like it's a laid back, low key kind of affair. I love how it's set up. And I know some people have problems with what is it, John, the horseshoe kind of part there. But
yeah,
I love the stadium. I'm excited to see a game there and support the guys.
so
Yeah, I remember when it was packed, and like I remember the grass on I think the south end zone was just full of people sitting there in the grass, and then you got the part of the stadium where the weight room is, that was full too. It's just like when the stadium is full, you can really feel the experience, and then I love how it's just open. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's not really closed, it's really open. That was my favorite part about it, just the hill and just whenever it was packed, like it just bring another factor to the game for me at least.
we're talking about the black uniforms there. Well, we got them this week. We got we
Ooh.
got white helmets, we got black jersey and black pants. So I know Willie, you were kind of alluding to it. You were one of the first ones to don the black uniform back in the day. What do you think about this look today or for this weekend? And then what was it? What did you think when you first found out that you guys were going to have black uniforms? And what did you think when you first finally saw them?
My first question was, when are we going to put them on, and who do we play them when we're wearing them? Because that made all the difference in the world. I love these black uniforms. Like I love the black look. It's kind of ironic because I was looking for pictures earlier, and I don't remember us having the black pants. We wore the black with the red pants. My time, because I think they just introduced the black uniforms like my junior year. I don't remember putting them on my sophomore year, but it was black tops with red pants. But I love the black on black. I love it coming out the first home game. It's just an intimidation factor. I don't know how hot it is in Muncie right now. So a 2 o'clock play with hot black jerseys.
Good
I don't
point.
know if that's gonna, I don't know how the guys gonna feel about that when it's on, but coming out the tunnel, pregame, it's gonna look clean. And if those guys rock it out the way I know they can, yeah, there's some good swagger in that belt.
Colin, what do you think about these? And I've noticed now, 3 weeks in, is the black helmet gone? This seems like it'd be a time if we're going to have a black helmet, it would come out. What are your thoughts on these?
Yeah, great point, John, because I'm weird about uniforms. I like this, but you're right. Where's the black helmet? Where's the black helmet? That would have been cold. But something that just hit me while you were talking, John, I saw the number 3. I remember Willie talking about when he was wearing the all black. When are they going to retire Willie Snead's number? Nobody should be wearing number 3. When are they going to retire? I need to cut a promo on that. Clip this, John, because number 3, we can use it for like posters like this. Nobody else should wear number 3 unless they get word from Willie Snead they can wear it. And you got to be a dog, obviously, to get that word. When are we retiring it? Tag Jeff Mitchell, tag Mick Tidrow, tag Chris Radican, tag the Ball brothers. Retire the jersey. Retire number 3.
Tag David Letterman. Come on.
Yeah, David Letterman.
Yeah,
and
Jim Davis.
To my knowledge, I don't think we have any numbers retired as of right now. So that would be an interesting debate of who it should be. But yeah, Willie, I would think you would have to be pretty high up there. With the black uniforms, I remember them first coming out. We wore them one time your sophomore year, Willie. Toward the end of the year, we played Ohio, and we wore them that first time. And I was trying to find the video because I think there was a video when they got released. It was like you and maybe a couple other people, but I could not find the video of when they first released them. I was trying my best because I was going to show how old me and you are with how old the video was, basically. But yeah, and then 2012 or the next year was when they wore them. And then, did you ever play in the black helmet, or was that the year after you left school?
That was the Justin Hall era. Like, I didn't get that privilege, man. I would have loved that. But I love the white helmets. But like you said, Colin, like the black black helmets with the all black, I think that would take Ball State's like swag to a whole nother level. Like commits come to college half the time for what you're gonna wear. Like they want to be decked out, they want to be looking good, feel good, play good, look good, all that good stuff. Like it makes a difference. So I think Ball State should start thinking about, the alternate helmets because I think it would take the swag level to a whole nother level.
Anyone out there listening, if you want to see the black helmets come back, or even the even more rare red helmets that we had for a couple years, put it in the comments on any of the platforms you're watching on now, and we'll read them all at the end of the show. So we had a note from Coach Urimovich this last couple days come out. He's getting excited for his first home game. I'll go ahead and read it real quick. Oops, that's not the one. I'll go ahead and read it real quick. And then you guys, Willie, you can kind of tell me if this is something you want to hear out of your coach. So it says, to all of Cardinal Nation, this Saturday is our first home game of the season. I'm proud to lead this great group of student athletes on the field for the first time at Scheumann Stadium. I want you to be a part of it. Come see all the hard work, passion, and dedication that has been poured in over the summer. Be loud, be proud, and cheer on your Cardinals. We play a good New Hampshire team, and we want you to let them know how proud you are to be Cardinals. To do that, we need you to be as loud as you can on every kickoff, every play, and, of course, every touchdown. I look forward to seeing you all at the Shoe for a 2 p.m. game as we look to black out the Wildcats. We'll get to that in a second. Wear black, bring all of your energy, and make this an electric environment. See you soon. Chirp, chirp, go Cardinals. Willie, is that basically everything that you want to hear out of a coach before that first game, or is there anything else you wish he would have included there?
No, I think it was spot on. It's absolutely hit on. It's the first home game. I wish we would have had a first home game before we went on the road to play 2 Power 4 schools, because I think that makes a big difference too, just being, 0-0 versus 0-2, just in other people's eyes. But I think the fact that it's the first home game, there's going to be the student section, fans, they should be excited for Ball State football. It's a new era with Coach U. He's made it known that he's excited to be here. He wants to see the fans, and Ball State, Muncie fans should come out and show their best support. Make Coach U's experiments one to remember, because it made my experience personally one to remember, just with all the games that we had and just how the crowd, the students, everybody showed up. And when they show up, they show out, and it makes a difference. It puts pressure on the opponent when they hear the roar, they hear the third down chirp. It's like all that stuff means everything. So I think he was hit on exactly what he needs to say, just speaking directly to the fan, and hopefully they listen. Hopefully they come out and support and make it one to remember for Coach U and for those Ball State Cardinals just going into the season and going into the meat of the schedule here soon.
Yeah, and you made a great point, Willie. I think it was maybe your junior year. We played Illinois State to start the year.
Yep.
And so that was that first game of the year. Got a nice win right out of the gate. Get that confidence boosted, get everything going. So that's a great point. Obviously, it puts a little bit more pressure on this game now, having those 2 games the last 2 weeks at Purdue and at Auburn, and kind of how they went out. So there's a little bit more pressure on it. I'm sure we'll kind of get to that in our chirps here in a little bit, but it puts probably a little bit more pressure on these guys this week, I would think. Colin, what are your thoughts on what Coach U had to say?
Yeah, I like it, John. I feel a little guilty. I'm not going to be there, but most of the home games, I will be in attendance. It just kind of like the schedule didn't really work out. I got a JV game at 10 a.m., and then it's a 2.5-hour drive for me, so I couldn't really spend it, couldn't make it work. What I'm thinking about going into this game, though, besides kind of being sad I'm not going to be there, the pressure is all on us, John. We have to nail this. We have to win. Otherwise, this slippery slope's going to start sliding, and then people are going to kind of – it's hard when you lose so many games in a row to get people to snap out of that and turn it back around when that momentum gets going. You got to have somebody there that can get people going. So I don't even want to broach us possibly losing. But, John, I was listening to what Justin was saying. Looking at the spread is only 3.5. Looking at how good New Hampshire is. They own the series in us. Their wide receiver room apparently has some dogs in it. I just honestly, this is kind of a trap game for us, and I'm just hoping and praying that we make this out with an easy dub. And like Willie said, I'm hoping for a 21-point win at least, but a 17-point, 14-point win, I'll just take any win. But I am going to be concerned, John, if we don't come out of this with a two touchdown lead win sort of game. If it's too close, I'm going to be worried about the rest of the year.
Yeah. My thoughts.
John, I think John, they need to think about just when they do the schedule, they need to start with the game where it's the FCS game, just so that we have that momentum going into the season. Like even if you do play Ohio State and Northwestern afterwards, it's like having that 1-0 record before going on the road and starting the power play. It's like it does something psychologically for guys. You know what I'm saying? Even for the fans. You know what I mean? Just to start building up that experience for the rest of the season. You know what I mean? It's just 0-2 at home, to start off the year. It's like John said, it's like, or Colin said, it's like, it's kind of, you look at it, it's like this is a must-win game. You know what I mean? So it's like you don't never want to feel like that, like the third game or at least the first home game. You know what I mean? So I think whoever's doing the schedule, just future reference, I think like they did in the past when I was playing, just really think about putting that first home game first and putting it against opponent where it's like, you're not going to win, but you gotta, it's a game that you should win, right? Versus like a team where it's like you gotta go on the road for 2 games and play 2 Power 4 schools. I think that would make a huge difference for the football program going forward.
Hey, Willie, what would you think about scheduling Indiana State as our FCS game? Maybe not every year, but like every other year since it's a rivalry game. Would you like that, or do you like to see us play different FCS schools?
Every year, I don't know about every year. I do like playing other schools. Like Illinois State was awesome. Indiana State, I think, is a good matchup because it's in state. It brings a different kind of crowd. Like they're right up the road, so you got their fan base coming. So it'll make a great experience at the shoe. But I'm all for the in-state, but even the out-of-state, attraction is even better. Just having the experience of playing other teams, at the other levels. I never run from a challenge. I don't think we should, but I like the Illinois State idea. I think that's a good way to like build that in-state rivalry and just get more people to the stadium for sure, versus people flying from New Hampshire and making that trip.
Yeah, another one that I was saying would be Butler as well, because if we're going to
Yeah.
play Indiana State, there's no reason we couldn't play Butler as well. Okay, I'll kind of jump through these last few ones here before we get to Colin's pulse of the Cardinal Nation. If you are going to the game this weekend, everyone, just a reminder that it is indeed family weekend this weekend. So we're excited once again. Welcome families this fall. Join us for Family Weekend Thursday, September 11th through Sunday, September 14th. So family weekend is the first time a lot of these kids who have been out there at school, they're seeing their families for the first time in a couple of weeks. So if you're going to the game, bring your mom, bring your dad, bring your grandma, bring everybody, come out and support the Cardinals. Everyone, I'm sure, will appreciate it. And if you are going to come out for family weekend, be sure that you are going to be wearing black. It's a blackout of the shoe this weekend. Willie, when the team does something like this, tries to get something going throughout the stadium, whether it be a whiteout, a red out, or in this case a blackout, is that something that the players kind of get behind if it's done well by the fans and it's really obvious that it's going on, or is that something you guys don't really pay attention to as much?
No. For me as a player, I was all into this kind of stuff, and I was even like spreading the word, because it gives us something else to look forward to in the game. It's like we're already excited about playing the game, but the fact that the fans are into it and it's like it's like a basketball thing. You know what I'm saying? Like you come to the arena, it's a whiteout, everybody's whited out, they're going crazy in the stands. It just brings a different energy, a different type of motivation to the game. And I think the fact that they're doing a blackout to start the year is awesome. And the guys should be excited about it. I would be hyped up to see the stadium in black, all black. That'd be dope. And it just brings that extra juice, extra oomph to the game for the players. So definitely black out, definitely come out with some rowdy, energy. And just play for the guys, man. They work hard, they sacrifice so much just to play one of these games. We only get like 6 games at home. So really take advantage of all these. And I think these type of promos are awesome for the experience for the fan and especially for the players.
Colin, if you were there going to be there this weekend, would you be wearing black?
All black. All black. I'll wear a ski mask to the dang thing if they want me to.
There you go.
Honestly, any way I can support the team, I'll try to support the team. It's unfortunate I can't be there this week, but if there's a color code for Ohio, maybe it's wear red because I think they're green, black, and white. Maybe it's wear red October 4th. I'll make sure I'm all red. I'm gonna do whatever I can to make sure the environment is right for the team.
All right.
There we go.
Again, anyone out there, questions, comments, put them in the chat wherever you're watching. Colin, before we get into our 3 chirps for all of us, give me your pulse of the Cardinal Nation.
Yeah, so this is pretty important. This is a segment I'm gonna do every week on the preview of the game upcoming. And if you watched last week, I like to which way's the wind blowing, listen to the fans, feel the pulse. You know what I mean? What's the beats per minute? A lot of things that people were saying that I felt like Cardinals pulse was a little bit more upbeat than after Purdue. What people were telling me here was they saw this beatdown coming against Auburn. There wasn't really that expectation of a win, so I think people were less down. Also, there was a lot of positives on defense. That's another thing I heard a lot was people are super excited about that D-line. I hope it continues into this upcoming game against New Hampshire. And then thirdly, for this upcoming New Hampshire game, the vibes are really up. A lot of people are saying this is our first win of the year. I know the spread is 3.5. It could be a bit of a nail biter, even less so than we want here at Ball State of the Union. And then finally, this is something that I saw here and there kind of sprinkled in, John, even in this article that ESPN posted, kind of putting us in the worst first 2 weeks, in the top 10 worst weeks of, first 2 weeks of the season. Was the money worth it? That's been a question a lot of people have been asking. We've only scored 3 points through the first 2 weeks. That breaks down to about $833,000 per point scored. So it's kind of grim, but I think this is what we really can run the program on. We need to do this, but maybe like Willie said, when we look at the schedule and scheduling, we look at worse P4 teams. I know maybe the SEC pays more, but I told John I'd like to see us play Purdue all the time, keep them as one of the teams because one of these times we'll catch Purdue slipping. And then another team I'd like to see is kind of a soft P4 team. And I'm sorry, John, I know it's your buddy running that school over there, but Stanford. I'd love to see us schedule a team like Stanford, have them pay us $1.3 million, maybe a little bit more to travel West Coast and play a little bit of a team that's closer to our competition than SEC level talent. I think that's something we look at. But right now, Cardinal Pulse, just to wrap this up, I feel like Pulse is elevated and it's going in the right direction for New Hampshire. There's a lot of positive vibes. Now, if we mess this up, John and Willie, I'm scared for the Pulse next week. It's not going to be good. The Pulse is going to be, it might be dead. So just hopefully we get this thing solid, win here, and keep trekking because UConn, we got to make competitive too. We got to make UConn competitive. We got to get a win against New Hampshire, UConn competitive, and then be ready to go beat down the MAC champs, Ohio.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well said.
All right, Willie, your 3 chirps for this game against New Hampshire. So everyone out there, the 3 chirps, it can be your 3 keys to the game, 3 things you want to see. We do them every week. Willie, what are your 3 chirps? Your inaugural 3 chirps, actually, for this game against New Hampshire.
My first one, John, is defensively. I want to see the secondary play with a little more energy and a little more swag. I feel like the last 2 weeks we've been given a lot of free access, a lot of gimmies, as I would say, to receivers and those teams. And I just want to see them take advantage of the D line. D line's getting pressure. There are going to be some, some off schedule throws. They got to be there to make the plays and be opportunistic when those plays come out. So keeping the D-line fresh, getting the offense back on the field, get more 3 and outs. I just want to see the defensive backs for my first chirp to really come to play, really bring out their swag, and kind of set the tone on this New Hampshire offense. And their skill players, like you said, Colin. They got a couple dogs, so it's gonna be a good test for them. Just to really see if they can come out and really shake off these first 2 games and kind of establish themselves as we get going into the season. My second one. Offensively, I want to see the offensive passing game get going a little bit more. I've always been more to run the football and get the run game going to really get our offense going. But I know that we have playmakers, and I want to see them take advantage. We're going to see cover 0 looks. We're going to see them blitzing and trying to take advantage of Kelly, and him just, speeding up the play. I really want to see our playmakers take advantage in space and see us get going in the passing game. We got to start threatening people in the passing game to open up the box. That way we can start running the ball and our running backs can, hit some wide open lanes. So really just want to see Kelly and the skill group really come together this game, really establish what they want to be as the season gets going here. And, lastly, I just want to see special teams really create a turnover. I want to see that happen. I want to see the game flip, whether that's kickoff, punching the ball out, or punt return, creating an explosive 20-plus yards. Like, I really want to see special teams take over one time in this game and really flip the game in our favor. I feel like if we get that, whether it's a turnover or an explosive in the kicking game, that's going to be a huge difference on the win or loss column for us. And obviously, continue to build on the kicking game. Like we said, we just got 3 points, made a field goal last week, so that's something to build off. And obviously, the punt team flipping the field like that against Auburn was very impressive. So continue to build on that. Let's create a turnover or an explosive on special teams so that they can be more of a factor in the game, because that's the part of the game people count out is like when it's even between offense and defense, is special teams going to make a play to really flip the game in our favor? So those are my 3 chirps. I hope the guys hear them because I'm really just challenging the skill group players all the way around. Offensively, like I said before, I just want to see the skill players, from being a receiver myself, really take advantage of this kind of game. If they're giving us free access, man, eat that shit up and go play some ball, man. Have some fun doing it too.
All right, Colin, quickly, your chirps.
My 3 chirps. One, this was a strength for our team last week, but I want to see it continue. My first chirp is I want to see 5 or more sacks for the D-line. If you can do that against Auburn, let me see it again against New Hampshire, and hopefully it's even better. That's my first chirp. Number 2, sharp kicking game. We just heard from Justin. New Hampshire's kicker hit 4 of 4, including a 50-yarder. They cannot out-kick us. We will need to make sure, whether it's this game or next week or the week after, at some point, this kicking game's got to step up for us. And it was decent last week. He hit what he had to hit. Let's continue it. And finally, number 3, this is kind of just one that Willie had as well. We need to get Kyle Kelly rolling. There's not one player on this team that I believe in more than Kyle Kelly. I believe in Kyle Kelly so much. I got us going to a bowl game. So we got to get him rolling. We got to get him moving. He's gonna have to take over. This has to be the game where he pops off and we see like, okay, yeah, this is why we believe in this guy. He's him. So that's my chirp number 3. Those are my 3, John.
All right, mine just quickly. Number 1, you got to flex your muscles if you can this week. We've got beat on 2 weeks in a row. The team and the fans are both clamoring and wanting to turn the tables and kind of take out some frustration. So if we're able to do that, and theoretically based on talent, you would think that you would be able to. This is the week you got to do it. You got to flex your muscles if you can this week. Number 2, the passing game needs to show significant improvements, in my opinion. We've kind of given them a pass these last 2 weeks with the step up in talent we've had. If this passing game is going to be able to be truly effective in MAC play, I think they're going to have to be able to be truly effective this week. And lastly, do not underestimate your opponent. Obviously, it's a top 25 FCS team, which, whether we want to admit it or not, is probably closer to what we are than we are in the top 25 of the FBS. And they have beaten Ball State before. So flex your muscles if you can. Passing game showing significant improvements, and do not underestimate your opponent. All right, let's get to the listener comments and questions, and we'll go ahead and get out of here. So first one, our friend David over on YouTube. After seeing how Southern Illinois played Purdue and how we played versus Auburn, and then look at New Hampshire being in the top 25 in the FCS, I see us losing to them again. Do either of you have us losing this game this weekend?
No chance.
No.
Okay. He said, and he had also an interesting Daily News article in their September 9th edition. It notes power conferences are getting basically $400 million, while mid-majors are getting about $60 million. Huge difference. And then so basically the bigs can pay a lot for good players. We can buy a few decent numbers. A number of FCS players. It's going to get tougher and tougher to compete against the IUs of the world. Yeah, unfortunately.
Who's paying that money, John? Who's paying that money?
Not Feed the Bird, I can tell you that much. So, unfortunately, the IU is better than they were when me and Willie were in school. Willie
Well, you
was
know what that means? You know what that
yeah.
means? The coaching has to be on another level. Like, the scheme, you got to scheme people up now. Like, we're going to get some guys. They're not going to be top tier, right? You might get a couple guys that fall down from the Power Four schools, especially, if you got a good reputation for scheming up guys and putting some good stats out there. But, it's going to really come down to coaching when it comes to just like between IU. Like, I always see us, compete with IU. Like,
Mhm.
NIL, whatever. But at the end of the day, like, it's gonna come down to scheme and really trying to play better football than the other team.
Yeah, I'm the biggest IU football hater there is. So, Willie, what you and the guys did back in the day when I was in school was
You
was
already know.
was very awesome. So, our friend Jeremy Bryan over on Twitter, bring back the black and red helmets. Now it's going to cost some money, but boys, I think I got to agree with him on that one. And Jeremy asked, he got in on the action. He had 3 chirps for us as well. Here's Jeremy's 3 chirps: protect the football, build Kelly's confidence, and control the line of scrimmage. I think those all sound pretty good to me.
Yeah, really good. That's winning formula right there.
That's right. He also was talking about, talking about maybe scheduling some people. He said the games are scheduled years in advance, so it's hard to know when teams are going to be quote unquote soft. So
Good point.
Good point. And then we have one more here from YouTube. I don't know if this is the Ball State legend Darius Hill or if this is somebody else, but Darius Hill on YouTube is saying here, my chirp, Kyle has to show out. He is a dog. So
He is.
Darius Hill, if that's you, the Ball State tight end from back in the late 2000s who scored all those touchdowns, reach out to us. And David, one more comment in here. He said, good comments, Willie. So, Willie, you got a fan in David.
Much love. Much love. I'm getting better at it.
Yeah. All right. So that's our listener questions and comments. Again, you're able to throw those in at all times on anywhere, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, anywhere we're at. Throw them on there. We can get them on the show, or you can put them in live throughout the week. So let's go over the rest of the week. Game is at 2:00 on Saturday. Colin, are you hosting the spaces again this week?
Yeah, I can, John, or you can host, or we can go back and forth, or I can host it. It's up to you.
Okay. So there'll be Twitter spaces somewhere, whether it be my page or Colin's page, after the game, immediately after the game on Saturday. And then Sunday morning, we'll have a recap show just like we had the last 2 weeks. Time to be determined, but it'll be in the morning, and that'll be live as well. So you're able to join us, hopefully to celebrate a big win, a nice win where Ball State is really finally be able to supplant themselves and showing what this team really is going to be this year. So be ready for that on Sunday morning, excuse me. So one last thing I want to reiterate one more time. Again, Ball State of the Union is partnering with the Shop Indy, and that is going to be for all things merchandise for Central Indiana, Indianapolis, but Ball State has some stuff on there. So use that code BS Union if you buy anything online, and you'll get free shipping based on our partnership. So Colin and Willie, any final thoughts before we get out of here tonight? Colin, we'll start with you.
Yeah, real quick. I just want to say, guys, make sure if you're a Cardinal fan, if you're a Muncie local, if you are a Willie Snead fan, if you're a guy that just likes to hear people talk ball, make sure you subscribe to this channel because there's not a lot of G5 podcasts out there that are going to get you inside coverage of a G5 versus FCS game. So we're really doing something unprecedented here. John is working really hard to give you interviews of people that are important, that are within the know. So make sure you guys do something positive for us. Hit that like button, subscribe. We're going to keep giving you guys great content.
Willie, anything for the fans before we get out of here?
Yeah, I just want to encourage fans to go out there this Saturday and really just show up for the team. They've had a tough couple first weeks against the teams they played. It'd be awesome to come out there to a full crowd in all black, get them hyped, get them going. Because I tell you, man, the difference between me playing with more energy than not is built into the fans. If there was no fans showing up to an Illinois State game, I don't know if I go out there and ball out the way I need to. But there's just something different when the stadium is full and their energy is real and the commitment is there for a guy to come out there and put his helmet on, just lay it out there on the line, because at the end of the day, you guys are showing up and they want to show out for you guys. So please pull up, show your best support for our Cardinals, man. And Cardinal Nation, go out there and kill a mosquito with a hammer, man. Do not play with these guys. Don't give them any hope. All right. Have some fun doing it and give us something good stuff to talk about on Sunday, man. Because I want to start building you guys up. Let's go, man. Let's do it, Cardinal Nation.
There we go. Couldn't have said it better myself. I love the kill this mosquito with the hammer. Since you said that last week, I'm a big fan.
That's what we got to do, man. That's what it is.
There we go. All right, everyone. So thank you. This has been our largest live viewership out there so far. So we appreciate everyone who's been joining us this evening. That's going to wrap up this edition of Ball State of the Union. If you enjoyed the show, like Colin said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe so we can keep growing this Cardinal community. Share it with your fellow Ball State fans. It really helps us out. Big week ahead. First home game, like we said, at Scheumann Stadium. So if you're able to, get out there, support the team, and hopefully get a win against New Hampshire. Pack the house out, bring the energy, and let's make it tough on UNH when they walk into the shoe. So chirp, chirp, everybody. We'll be live, again, Twitter Spaces after the game.
Let's go.
We'll see you guys then. Chirp, chirp.